Hello and welcome back. Well, this is where I keep all my bolts, nuts, washers and screws and all sorts of things. I keep them in these ice cream containers which are labelled with the size and what they are. Inside the ice cream containers are plastic bags with, in this case, M8 bolts, all different types. Not really organised, and it's a bit of a mess to be honest. So today we're going to fix this problem. I was given this set of metal drawers about a year or so ago, and I thought this would be ideal to store all of the nuts and bolts and washers. Now, the drawers need a little bit of panel beating here and there. This one's a little crooked on the side, and they're not on a roller bearing or rail of any kind. They just slide in on a metal plate. However, I did get these given to me for free, so I'm going to tidy them up and then I'll be able to organise all of my hardware so I can easily identify it and have easy access to it. The cabinet and the drawer faces have these stickers on them, so I'm using a utility blade just to scrape these bits off. Then all of the drawers get taken out. I set up the cabinet on a couple of sawhorses and then use a wire wheel to clean off some of the rusty bits. The top of the cabinet here was the worst, had a bit of rust, and there was a few other spots around the cabinet. Then there were some dings and dents in there as well, so I use a block of wood and a hammer to try and flatten some of these out. Once I have the cabinet shell all tidied up, I give it a wipe down and some acetone ready for painting. I'm using a Rust-Oleum spray can. I do like Rust-Oleum. It covers very well, so you can get by with 2 coats pretty good. I let the cabinet dry for a couple of days. I had a few other things to do, but there's a bit of concrete at the back here that is higher than the concrete floor. So I've got to put this little packer in the front here so I can get it parallel with the back wall. Then I start drilling a couple of holes through here, and my camera fell down. It was just sitting on a shelf, but that is the sound of the screw going in. And that is nice and solid, so I'm pretty happy with that. Now some of these drawers had some dents in them and the sides were bent in or bent out. So there was a little bit of panel beating needed on these drawers as well. Some of them actually had some big dents in the base coming into the base. So it's as if someone had dropped the drawer on something sticking up and made a big dent. In terms of rust, all the drawers were pretty good. There was just this one that probably had some moisture or water in it at some point, and that needed a bit of a scrape off to clean it up. Now, 2 of the drawers are missing the knobs on the front. These are the knobs here, and I'm going to make some similar to that will go on the front of these. So over to the lathe, I've got a piece of 12mm aluminium in here. I'm turning it down to 10mm there. And then I'm using a form tool just to put a little curve in there, or cove, like the original ones have. The original handles are kind of like rivets, they're sort of peened over, but I'm going to put a thread in here. So I start off with a centering drill, and then I drill a M5 hole through the center here, or blind hole. And then I use a M6 tap to tap that out for a bolt. Finally, the piece is parted off with the parting tool, and I need to make another one exactly the same. The drawer fronts had a bit of, I think, black paint on the right hand side. I don't know if that was from original or not, but it looked a bit gungy. So I buffed all the fronts of the drawers to clean them all up, ready for painting. Just like with the cabinet shell, all of these drawers are cleaned off in acetone to get any grease and grime out of there, and then they're ready to be painted. Again, I'm using Rust-Oleum in a spray can. and the complete drawer is painted. Once the paint's been set for a day, I screw on the little aluminium handles that I made. I'm using a little bit of Loctite here, as these will be tightened up and then hopefully they will not come loose. That is a close-up of the little handle, which I think turned out pretty good and similar to the original handle. This is a very old set of drawers, so there's no bearings or drawer rails or anything like that. The drawers just slide on these bits of angle, so I'm putting a bit of paste wax on here just to make the drawers slide a lot easier. Also put a little bit of paste wax down the side of the drawers on the underside as well. And I test a drawer out, and that seems to work pretty good. I was going to 3D print the little buckets that go in the drawers, but I found these online really cheap, so I bought a whole bunch of them, and they can go into the drawers. Each drawer holds 8 of these little buckets. I start with my M6 bolts, nuts and fasteners, and they are put into the little buckets. In some cases I have plenty left over, so I'll keep those in a little bag down the side. Now these white containers, they have nuts in there, nylox and normal nuts, and those other 2 white containers down the side, they have washers in there. M6 washers and some quite large M6 washers. Once done, the drawer's taken over to the cabinet and slid into place. That works really well, and there's a view from the top. And this is the first time these nuts and bolts are being, well, semi-organised, I suppose. I actually need 2 drawers for the different M6 bolts and nuts, so I've done the other one off camera. This one here is my M8 bolts and nuts and washers. And again, I have so many nuts and bolts that I have to use a second drawer here as well. And that is the second drawer there. You can see a couple of long bolts that don't fit into the containers. They're down the side. And there's a bag of, I can't remember, washers or something there that I didn't have enough room for. In the same fashion, I'm sorting out all of my electrical connectors as well. And as you can see, there's so many different types that I have to use 2 drawers. The last thing to do once the drawers are done is to put some labels on them. I've just used a Dymo labeler to print out the labels for these drawers. I open the drawers a little bit just to get a camera angle in there of the parts in the drawers. And I'll tell you what, it's quite amazing going through the old cupboard that I had with all these bolts and nuts and washers and all sorts in, and coming across stuff that, you know, brand new stuff that you haven't used for years and will likely outlive me anyway. But everything is now all sorted out in these drawers, and I'm quite happy with that. So that's pretty much the video. Probably not so exciting, but these drawers have been hanging around in my shed for a year or year and a half, and now I've put them to some good use. I hope everyone has a great day, and once again, thanks for watching.